On this edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
You're starting with Tiki Barber. He was just that type of player, dominant type of player. And Monty Kiffin, we're not winning this game if we don't start right here. And so he's going through all these attributes of what makes Tiki good. And I'm like, I dare him to say anything bad about him. His ability to get on top of you, and even if he has a route like that's a in breaking route, out breaking route, we're supposed to stop. That offense allowed him just to throw his freaking hand up when he felt like he had the advantage. And Culpepper, one of the toughest I ever played against was Steve Smith.
Oh.
And I played him twice a year for a lot of years. He was a pain in my ass, dude. Pain in the ass. And for people that don't know, there's like a concept that was created basically for him. We used to call it the bear pass.
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who live those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast. Welcome to the Just in Time podcast. I'm Justin Kutcher, joined by another very special guest. This one's big, folks. I don't know if you can tell by the quarter zip he's wearing. This is the Hall of Famer, Ronde Barber, NFL Hall of Famer, Ronde Barber. Ronde, it's so good to see you. So good to have you. Thanks for joining us, man.
You too. I did not wear that on purpose. I don't usually flex like that, but I mean, since you mentioned it.
Look, if you're a Hall of Famer, flex all day with it, because it's legit. I mean, we can get into a whole bunch of other stuff, but I'll just jump right in. The phone call, when you get the phone call that you're in the Hall of Fame, what are the emotions like?
Yeah, so that's an interesting story because it doesn't really work like that. The phone call is not really a phone call.
Okay.
God, so 2 years ago, um, I guess about a week ago, 2 years ago. Actually, I know exactly when it was. What am I talking about? It was on the 25th. It was on the 25th. 2 years ago. I didn't get a call. My wife got a call because the call doesn't want it to leak. They don't want people to know prematurely. It's somewhat of a production. It was before when David Baker was head of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They waited until the Super Bowl and put guys in rooms, and some of them got knocks and were elated. Some of them got knocks and were just dejected. So that whole process changed like the year before I got in, and so I knew that they were going to call, but they had told us at the beginning of the process, once you become a finalist, that you're not going to get the call. Somebody else is going to get the call. They're going to call you. Call my wife. So she's the one that got the call,
Okay.
and it was up to her to hold that secret for a week until the production crew could come here, and Derek Brooks came and knocked on my door. So that's how it really works.
Okay. So when Derek Brooks knocked on your door, you're the person to answer, I presume?
Oh yeah, I mean, my mom was here. My daughter came home from school. The one daughter couldn't come. My younger one couldn't come. My oldest daughter's here. It's like, you know, I mean,
You
I'm
knew something was up.
right. Like, I'm not great at math, but I can add 2 plus 2 pretty easily. And Justin, um, I got a lot of people and friends in the media and in years past. So for the 5 years prior that I was a final or semifinalist, and then the 3 years before I got in, I was a finalist. I could call somebody and just be like, "Hey, man, I know you're not supposed to tell me, but give me the 411. Am I in? Am I not? What are you hearing?" And every single year, somebody called me back either a day of or the day after the vote. And then, obviously the hall tells the people a week later. But I knew right away. This year or that year, 2023, crickets, man. Like nothing. Didn't hear from anybody. Like reliable, good friends. Didn't even like text back. Hey, man, just text me that you're alive. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. All right, that was one, right?
Okay.
And then the day of, Number two was that my wife wasn't, she just what she like. You're the one that's gonna know. So like, are you gonna tell me or you're not gonna tell me? That was number two. And then the day that they were gonna come on knock on my door, my mom and my daughter were here. So like 2 + 2 = 4, dude. Like something's going on. And so when Derek did knock and I was walking, I got this big bay window in the front of my house, and I'm walking through and hey, you got to go answer the door. I think you should go answer the door. I'm like, I just, I refuse to answer the door at my house because usually it's going to be like, a Culligan guy or a, UPS guy and his signature. Hey, are you running? Like I don't answer the door here. But I went and walked the door, and as I was walking by, I saw the big mic thing and saw people standing outside. So I knew what it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it was still emotional. It was still emotional. It was still like fun to get that, you know, to get that.
Yeah, kudos to your wife too for keeping it a secret for the week.
Mostly secret.
So, okay, Derek Brooks is the guy to come knock on your door.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys played together, won a Super Bowl together. What was it like when, it was him to be the
Yeah.
one to tell you the news?
It would had to have been him. I mean, they want other Hall of Famers to do that now, which they all do now, to make that introduction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it was either going to be Tony Dungy, Derek, Warren, or John. And I knew John and Warren were elsewhere because I'd actually talked to them. And um, yeah, it was. I was trying. I was. I knew I was. I knew it was coming, obviously, right? But I was excited, and I didn't know if I was going to cry, if I was going to, you know, you know, burst into, some inaudible scream. But reality is, I kept my composure, but you see him standing there with the yellow jacket on, and you're like, I'm, I'm going to be imminently wearing one of those. And it's an impossible description. I can't tell you what it was like. It was just, um, relief to a degree because I've been through it so many times, and you don't ever think about being in the Hall of Fame when you're say like 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe even 10 years in the NFL. It's like when you're done and you take inventory and you're like, man, it fits. The script fits. But then when you have to wait, most everybody has to wait. Being a first balloted guy it's even more and more rare now, and so that process for me of 6 years, it was like, wow, that's over. Like, right, there's nothing left at all to my football journey now, aside from doing stuff like this and talking about it. And yeah, it was like that's what it was. It was like finally it's over. Like final destination is here. That was pretty awesome.
You mentioned like the first 5 years you're in the league, it's not crossing your mind. Year 10, it's not crossing your mind. It's not almost till you're done, but 16 years, all with one team,
Yeah.
all the all pros, all the Pro Bowls. At what point in your career did it first kind of creep into your mind like maybe I am on this Hall of Fame trajectory?
I still don't think I thought about that till even later. I
Uh,
just never really knew what a Hall of Fame corner was, right? It's easy to describe the quarterback and what Hall of Fame wide receivers are. There weren't a lot of, I mean, I think there's still only 23 uh, Hall of Fame
That's a good
cornerbacks.
number.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good number. But yeah, so I never knew what the criteria would be, right? And that's one of the unique things about the Pro Football Hall of Fame is that there's nothing that defines what a Hall of Famer could be. There's the greatest all time running back ever, Jim Brown, is in, you know, and Terrell Davis, who only played 7 years, is in, right? There's like, that's vastly
Yeah.
different. TD was, so monumental in 2 Super Bowls in that short period of time that he was playing was like, man, this guy is like the best at the job. But does that make you Hall of Famer? I don't know. So to answer your question, I didn't really realize it until, probably really close to the end. I knew probably by 2000 um, 2000 and 2001. 2001 is the year I led the league in interceptions. I knew by then that I was a damn good player. And in some recesses of my mind, I told myself and anybody that would listen that I was the best at my job, right? And I understood too that the way I did my job was different than the way, like, say, a Charles Woodson or Champ Bailey, who both were my era of corner, did their job. We just did it differently. I was a nickel, made a lot more different types of plays. I was more involved than they were in the overall play of the defense. And so I think I celebrated my uniqueness by saying I was the best at the job. So I don't know.
That I
It's kind of
look,
what into the Hall of Fame, to be honest with
I
you.
was gonna say it takes I gotta think it takes that kind of confidence in yourself, that belief, to reach the level that you reached.
Yeah. Well, think about well, how long have I known you now, Justin? We've known each
I
other
mean, it's gotta be
15
almost
years.
12 years.
Yeah, 12, 13 years, right? It's in what you do. How big is confidence, right? You can't go into
It.
doing, play-by-play stuff when you were doing that, or hosting when you were doing that. Like, imagine being or lacking true confidence and trying to make yourself feel, you know, uh, um, palatable to people that are listening to you, right? I think that's what defines, people that are good at things. They're truly confident in that because they know they're good at it. You just don't get to a certain level of achievement without it. I think that goes without saying. And then, when your aptitude is better than most, or when your skill set is better than most, and when you have certain um, you know achievements that end up being better than most, yeah, I mean that confidence is like it's like stacked on top of each other, and it just becomes inevitable, right? And I think that's what people see in inevitability when they watch greatness. Like, man, this guy's got it all because it all lines up. So
You mentioned that year. That's when you realize, like, I'm the best. Like, what what gave you that feeling of, like, you've arrived and not just arrived, but you're the best in the league at your job?
yeah, that's a great question. Results. Um, you know, you always work for things like off season. You're working to get in shape, to continually learn. Um, you know, preseason begins. You're hoping that all that translates into performance and practice. And then it was that year, like '01, when well, I'll rewind. So I didn't play at all 97. Played one game. Actually, I played two games. I played in the playoff game, but I didn't really play. Like, that was like a redshirt year. 98, I started to play because a guy got hurt, kind of took his job. Not kind of, I did. That's a whole nother long story
Hi,
that I
Pip.
won't.
Okay, Lou Gehrig, I gotcha.
And I got some playing time. I started playing well. It's like, wow, Ronde's better than we thought he was, right? And I had two interceptions. It was like, oh, okay, all right, that's a good start, right? Next year, 99, play started the whole year. Had one injury that prevented me from starting the game, but like I played, and had two interceptions. Right, 2000, like kind of same thing. Like, I was established. I was the guy that this team, the Tampa Bay Bucs, were going to have for a while at the position, and I had two interceptions and five sacks, and like, man, this guy is like, he does a lot of everything. And I don't think anybody across the league had any idea who I was or what I was doing. And in fact, if my brother hadn't kind of started taking off right then, they probably wouldn't have known I was even in the NFL. Like, we were the twins, and the twin part benefited me. Tiki was the starting running back for the New York Giants, man. Like,
Right.
everybody knows who the hell that is. Nobody really knew who I was. So that off season, I remember I got a new DB coach. His name was Mike Tomlin, and we started working on me becoming a better version of myself. Uh, all these things that I had shown. I remember he came in and said, I was actually a free agent that year, and he was like, "Nobody can do what you do. Like, I've watched all the guys in the league. Nobody's doing what you're doing. Like, you're not going anywhere because I want to work with you." Ultimately, I signed back. Didn't really have that many good offers to go anywhere else, which is also another story, a tale to tell some other time. And so
Oh,
I
no,
come
we have time. Don't worry, we'll get to it.
I come back. Yeah, it's a funny story. It involves one of your colleagues, ex colleagues. But I come back. And all those things that we did in the off season that we talked about when he first got here, started to show up. And by the end of that year, you take inventory. I had 10 interceptions, 2.5 sacks, I think, maybe 3 sacks, whatever it was. But there hadn't been a guy that had 10 interceptions in who knows how long, 18 years or something. And now I'm on the map, right? And so all those things that I had been working on just finally just all landed in the same bucket at the same time. And I was pretty damn good. And I knew it, right? Because I put the work in. I had seen, the results start to happen. The production was there. It wasn't like, oh, he's good, but you look at his numbers and it doesn't show up. It's like, no, it's all there. Like
Mhm.
film is there, the numbers are there. Everybody was around me knew the work was there, and that's like, yeah, that confluence made me realize it. Shit, man, ain't nobody better at this than me right now. It can't be. It just can't be. And that's how that happened. Like literally, it was a process that ultimately ended up being, me being the best DB that year. So first
Do
all
you remember who the 10th interception came against?
mm, oh God, how do I know this? How do I not know this? To be honest with you, that year I probably should only had like seven because I remember two or three of them were like tips, and I think the last one, if I'm not mistaken, we had a middle linebacker playing for us. His name was Jamie Duncan, and a ball came over the middle. He was kind of covering whoever the ball was going to, and it hit him and the receiver at the same time. And I just happened to be running to the ball, just going towards,
Yeah.
and it just bang. It just like I remember going down to one knee and catching it. Like that's 10. Like, yeah, that was exciting. I got a tip ball for my for the milestone interception. But take any of them. We always talk about tips and overthrows. Like
Yeah.
tips and the overthrows, they still all count, dude.
Did
Uh,
you know when Mike Tomlin came in to be the DB coach that this guy had something special in him?
yeah, he was just different. I mean, I'm sure I've told this story to other people a lot, but I'll tell it to you too. He came in, and Herm Edwards was my DB coach before that. He left to go be the head coach of the Jets, and Herm ended up, I don't know if he did when I first got there, but he ended up having a lot of belief in me, and taught me how to be a pro, explained to me what it means to stay in the league a long time and how you do that. But when Mike came in, I remember very specifically, after that conversation we had, very specifically talking to John Lynch, who came up to me and said, "Hey, what is this guy doing? He thinks like we don't know how to play football." And you're like, "What are you talking about, Rondé?" He had us doing these drills, like drills, like stuff that game enhancement, if you will, backpedaling, shuffling, all these agility things, and he labeled them EDDs, everyday drills, and it was like a lot. Like it took up a lot of time. And we did it every single day. And I remember John coming up to me and going, who does this guy think he is, man? Like, what are we doing? And I'm like, hey John, I don't know. You're the senior representative of the DB room. You can go talk to him if you want to. I'm not saying anything. Like I'm just trying to fit in, and make sure this new DB coach, appreciates what I'm doing. Like a month later, we all collectively, the entire room, saw how much better we were getting by doing this minutia, right? This everyday stuff, and everybody's movement got better. Everybody's movement got more precise. It helped focus you prior to practice. It helped focus you prior to the games, ultimately. And I think we all kind of figured out pretty quickly that yeah, he was legit, and he was a guy that not only gave you a lot of detail, but he entertained you. Right? He spent time like making it interesting, and he still does. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mean, he's players love him for a reason, and he's smart as hell, man. Like he might not want people to believe that, but the dude is borderline brilliant, man. And he's a great motivator. and all those things combined make him, pretty special.
So what's it like? He helps you become that great. He finds the greatness in you. He brings it out. And then he ends up becoming the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
So when you guys, I'm guessing you finally played against him at some point.
played against him.
Yeah.
I don't think we beat him ever.
What was it like just going up and seeing him like
Yeah,
before the game? I
yeah,
mean, what's said?
yeah. That's always. I mean, we love each other, right? We're boys and brothers, and all things close. I still vacation with them, and we were even doing so while we were, while I was still playing and he was coaching. We would vacation together just because our families are tight. But yeah, it was. He always had a funny line. I don't know if he still uses it. He probably does. I know I've heard him say it on the sideline before, but he it's all cordial, pregame. You know, once that whistle blows and kickoff, and his saying is everybody dies. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I remember going by him on the sideline, and like not like glassed. He had no interest in us being friends while we're while we're playing.
That's
While
awesome.
we're playing each other. But it is what it is. I mean, he's an intense dude, and I think in order to be successful and focused, like you have to keep that intensity level. You can't be distracted by relationships when you're competing. And at least that's kind of our era, what we've always believed in. Like everything that's not about you finding your success is a distraction.
Okay, so there are relationships and then there's blood.
Mhm.
And there's blood and there's identical twin blood.
Mhm.
So you're on the field as a defensive player and your brother Tiki's on the field as a running back. How do you separate literally the brotherhood and the family ties
Yeah,
to go
that,
over there and try to tackle him and hit him as hard as you can?
that was probably harder than all the other things that we just talked about. But yeah, I mean, because it was our jobs, and we played 5 times, technically four because we played my first year, but I didn't play in
Okay.
that game. We competed against each other 4 times. Played five. I actually won 3 of those. My team won
Nobody's
3 of
counting.
those. He was two. But the first one we won, and I didn't play, so he doesn't count that. So in his mind, we only
Okay.
we split. We split the Barber series. but um, but the reality is, the best part about playing Tiki was um, getting ready that week to play him. Because how the scouting works. You go in, you have a game plan that is presented on Wednesday. That always starts with going over personnel, going through their personnel. And so you're talking about the Giants at that time. You're starting with Tiki Barber. He was just that type of player, dominant type of player. And Monty Kiffin, we're not winning this game if we don't start right here. And so he's going through all these attributes of what makes Tiki good. And I'm like, I dare him to say anything bad about him. Monty, if you say anything negative about my brother, I might kill you, right? It's that kind of deal. But I also knew how good he was, and the reality is, Monty wasn't wrong. If we don't stop the run, if we let this dude, run his scissor cut back crap, like we're gonna get destroyed. Um, so the prep was always the the funnest part of it because the actual Sunday was a little nerve wracking. Probably more nerve wracking for my mom than anybody, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because she always went to those games and wore her split shirt with 20 and so cute. Um, but I only really remember um, a couple of times actually hitting him. And then, to be honest with you, hold on, I got something for you. I'll
All
see
right.
it.
Awesome.
I forget what game this is, but like this guy captured this picture, right? This is like near the goal line somewhere, and
Get out.
it's me tackling Tiki, if you can see that,
Yes.
right? and
And
it's
it's
like
almost like you're hugging each other.
we're fighting for the ball or playing with the ball underneath there, and then you see all the other bodies around this. It's like it's almost like a womb shot. You know, it's like two twins back together in the womb. Like it's such a cool picture.
Wow.
And I remember the photographer like, hey, I got something. He actually had it framed for me and everything. He's like, I got this picture. I mean, this is you probably won't want this. I was like, that's an awesome, awesome picture. Um, but yeah, I didn't mind hitting his ass. He
So
deserved it.
when you hit him though, do you get up? Is there like a tap? Is there any trash talking? Like
No, it's
what's
the
happening?
acknowledgement. Yeah, it's just like a slight acknowledgement that, I got you, or, you didn't give me that time. I think more times than not, I know for a fact I never got a solid hit on him, ever. Got like you know, it was always kind of a easy tackle or brush out of bounds type thing. So,
Take me back to when you guys are kids, not quite in the womb after that.
yeah.
Uh,
Strangely, I don't remember that feeling.
okay. I mean, you're a smart guy. I don't know how far back your memory goes, but how come he ended up as a running back and you ended
Yeah.
up as a DB?
Yeah, it's a good question. The easy answer, and it's really the only answer, is he was bigger, faster, and stronger. He was, we were about the same height, but he had a lot more mass on him, and he was much faster than I was.
Really?
Like if you were on in a not in a 40 because I didn't really count, but like long speed sprinting, he was probably 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster than me. And so, that's noticeable. Like when you're going fast, that's noticeable.
Yeah.
Um, and he was when we were in high school. Ultimately, he was the strongest guy on our team, but he was also like that when we were little. He was just like the strongest kid around. Like I don't know why, he just had a bigger ass and legs, and you know, bigger, stronger back, and I was more narrow. And I played running back a little bit. We ran a little wishbone, or modified wing T, whatever you will. And so I got the ball a lot. But growing up, every time he got the ball, he scored. Like it was just like, well, there goes Tiki again, another touchdown. Like, it's just like he was good at it. And so I remember when we got to high school, or I guess middle school, I started to, get a lot of reps on defense. I played. I think I was kind of like a linebacker, to be honest with you. I think we were both kind of like outside linebackers. But then we get to high school is when the delineation really materialized, because we played both ways and went up. When we get to high school, he comes right in, and there was a good running back that was in our high school, Dwayne Webb. I remember, I'll never forget this, because I was like, Tiki comes in, he's the starting running back. They moved Dwayne Webb to quarterback, and I'm like, what? I'm not even playing like that. This is another one of those Ronde has to wait his turn type stories, much like my NFL career and college career for that matter. But yeah, Tiki starting right away, moved the starting running back to quarterback, and he's off to the races within his high school career. And we didn't throw the ball; we ran wing T, so there was no reason to play wideout. So I was like a backup safety. That's what I was.
Yeah.
And fortunately, um, for me, not for this guy Todd, who was Todd Dowdy, who was our
I
starting
love
safety.
it.
He got hurt. He
Oh
got
yeah.
hurt, and I think he broke his arm, maybe, and so he was going to be out for the rest of the season. So my sophomore year, which is high school started 10th grade for us, sophomore year. So my sophomore year, by like the fifth game, I was starting, and I was starting as safety. And anytime the ball went in the air, I intercepted it. Like I think I had like 18 interceptions in 3 years in high school or something. No, maybe it was 27 or something. It was a ridiculous number, because one year it was like 9, another year it was like 11. Like it was ridiculous. Um, and so it was like, oh, he's a DB, right? Like that's his job. That's what he's going to be good at. And I never really got a chance to play the other side of the ball, and because I didn't need to. Our high school went through Tiki Barber, and so I found my niche somewhere else. It's very similar to track. Like we were in track, and I'll give my middle school track coach credit for this. Gary Anderson was his name, and Tiki was bigger, faster, stronger. So he ran 100. Like if I ran 100, I was always going to finish second to Tiki. Like, right? So do you want first place points and second place points? Do you want first place points and first base points in the hurdles? So he turned me into a hurdler. Like in I think like seventh grade, you're like 12 years old,
Those
right?
are high.
They're like hard. It's
Yes.
complicated, right? But he taught me how to do it when I was young, like 12 years old, 13 years old. And I remember by the end of my seventh grade year, I was like a pretty proficient hurdler. Like I was no longer jumping them. I was actually running them. I had the three steps down. And so like eighth, ninth grade, I was dominated because I was the only one that could really hurdle. And then in 10th grade, I got to high school and I won state as a first year high school runner. And it was like, man, like I'm really good at it. But he gave me something else to do other than compete against Tiki. Like just like I wasn't going to compete with him at running backs. He was better at it than I was. And it allowed me to thrive doing something else instead of always finishing second to my brother. Right? If I'd have
Yeah.
stayed as a running back, I would have always been the other running back, the other running back, right? Instead, I got to define myself in my own way, and it's kind of like been like that our entire lives, to be honest with you. So
I was going to say, there's so many things that I can think about. One thing is the fact that you remember your middle school coaches, the names. I mean, here you are, an NFL Hall of Famer. And it's probably one of the big reasons why you and I are this close is because of the type of person you are. That people oftentimes think you don't remember any of that.
yeah,
Yet you remember it the way you're talking about it. It feels like it was just yesterday that you were converted into a hurdler and he taught you how to do this. I mean, you're recalling things from like seventh grade, eighth grade, like it was yesterday. And that I think is awesome. It just speaks to the type of person you are and why people kind of gravitate towards you. But you said it was always Tiki's world. And now it's like the roles have reversed. It's Ronde's world and Tiki's kind of living in it. And the weight is, you're in the Hall of Fame. Now the weight is for Tiki.
yeah,
And being honest, I grew up a Giants fan. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Like it's not even a question in my mind, but that's just that.
right,
So what is it like now that the roles have shifted in the public eye for the two of you?
yeah. That's a awesome point. Not that Tiki probably cares as much about getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as I did think that I deserved to be there. You know, obviously different positions. There's a lot more running backs. There's a lot more, quality at Hall of Fame level type players at his position than there was mine. Like my accolades stuck out, right? It was so uncommon what I did playing. Like there's just nobody that can even match that. So do I think he should be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely, he should. He's New York Giant, New York Football Giants all-time leading rusher, and he had a six-year run of games and stats that are unparalleled. Right? They're just the catching the ball, all-purpose yardage. Like there's, I think, only maybe LaDainian Tomlinson and Marcus Allen had the run that he had. Marshall Falk probably as well. So if you put that in consideration, I think he should be in. But for me to have made it before him, I don't think is a surprise. Not for either one of us. Tiki is always um, challenged by other things, and so I'm gonna say it wasn't a distraction because he still thrived, but it was I only had one focus, right? I didn't focus on other things until I was done playing football. Tiki's entire career in New York, like he was doing other things. Like he was hosting uh, news shows. He had a gig on CNN. He had a gig with Fox Sports or Fox News. I'm sorry, at one point. So he was always challenged by other things. So this post career, accomplishment thing, where it matters to him for sure. I don't think it's like driving him like it drove me to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
What would
Uh,
it mean? What would it mean to you though to have
yeah,
him in there with you?
Yeah, I mean, there's no brothers in the Pro Football Hall of
Right.
Fame, which is crazy, right?
I mean,
Um,
the other ones that you would think of are the Sharp brothers,
yeah,
Sterling and Shannon,
Sterling Shannon, Peyton and
Eli and Peyton. Yeah.
the Matthews brothers, Bruce and Clay. Clay's not in, even though Clay had a heck of a long career too. Yeah, it would be an anomaly. It would be awesome if it happened at some point in the future. But I don't think he's not lobbying for it like that. He definitely wants it to happen, and he knows that he deserves, that type of recognition because for like I said, those 6 years there was no better back playing um, um, in the NFC at least for sure. I mean, I think LaDainian was still there. Marshall had already retired, but for a lot of those years, he was there. So I, for me, it would be great for my mom. My mom's a single parent. Um, Grew up with nothing, making $30,000 a year, working for the Girl Scouts. I don't know how she did it, to be honest with you, but she always had a lot of pride in the things that we did and the things that we accomplished. Not like football. We were great kids, great students. Tiki was valedictorian of our high school. Dude never got a B ever, like ever, ever. Just stupid.
You're not bitter about this at all.
How does that even happen? How can you like open up a C plus plus book and like be done with it in like a day? And it took me, a semester and a half to figure out how to do it. Like it's just she's got a lot to be proud of with her twins, and that would push her over the edge for sure. Because I mean she sacrificed a lot, and so being able to give anything back to her is always a pleasure for us. So that would be first off, but I just think it would be really cool to have your brother and be accomplished at the highest possible regard with each other. Because in every
Dude,
other,
it wouldn't just be your brother. It's
yeah,
your identical
yeah,
twin brother.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So for every other way, we've done that, right? For our high school, for our colleges, for our respective pro teams. Like we are the best that have ever done it for their for those organizations. Um, Still, right? Still the best players that came out of Case Spring High School. We're probably the best brothers that ever came out of Virginia. He's the best running back in New York Giants history. I'm the best defensive back in Tampa Bay Bucs history. We've shared a lot of great accomplishments, and this would be the ultimate one if when it happens. So
yeah. And
that's,
that's a good word when it happens because it really should happen. So you can tell your brother that I think he should be in. If for no other reason, he's the one who made looking up at the Jumbotron famous for trying to figure out where the defense was as he's breaking over from the tackles.
and people don't remember that, but I
I
remember
think it was in
all the
Washington.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was in Washington, and he's running, and all of a sudden you just see his eyes look up, and he's looking at the screen to see where the defense is behind him, and I'm like, that is brilliant, and now I know freaking valedictorian.
Yeah, why doesn't anybody else ever done that? I've never asked him. I wonder if he did that like out of instinct, or if he had like, you know what? I'm gonna plan to look up at that jumbotron one time to see if anybody
Just in case. And
just
and by the way, like you said, he had all these other things going on when he was playing.
yeah.
The way that you and I met the first time, do you remember?
Was it Fox?
It was your bye week, your last year in the NFL, and you had an audition game for Fox.
That's right.
And they called me and they said, "Would you do this audition?" And it was the Bears at the Jaguars.
That's right. That's right. I forget. It was on my bye week, and so
Yeah.
I could drive over to. I drove over to Jacksonville.
In like your like Sprinter van. I'm like, what the hell is this?
It's a lap of luxury. Is what it was. If you gotta go that far, you might as well be able to like chill and relax. And yeah, I drove that thing everywhere. That's right. You know what? And I had been, for lack of a better word, recruited from Fox for a long couple years because I kept playing.
Mhm.
Like I think Lynch had already retired. He had been there, and I think he had told them that I might be good at it and I should look into it because you need defensive guys at some point. I'm every
Yep.
freaking quarterback that does that now. And yeah, I was like, yes, finally said yes. I'll do it. I'll do a practice game. This one lines up. I'll do that. I'm sure I sucked at it, but
No,
whatever.
you didn't. You didn't at all. It's funny. I did 2 practice games for the NFL for analysts, both while they were still playing.
Who?
One was you,
Yeah.
and the other was Matt Hasselbeck.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
And both got I was like, "Yeah, these guys are getting hired."
Right.
And I wanna say we only did 3 quarters, and you're like, "Yep." They're like, "You were good." You're like, "Alright, I'm driving back home." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Enjoy the van."
Right. I'm getting out of here before the post game rush. I mean, God, I don't even remember who won that game. I just remember I just remember being nervous. Like, why am I nervous talking about football? Right? Like, it's what I've
Because it's different.
it is totally different. But that's what I recall being like, man, it's just football. Just talk about football, right? And but there's a lot more to it, right? And it's not just going out and strapping up and playing. Like it's a lot more knowledge needed and have the ability to disseminate that knowledge, right? To actually get it out there, and more in a way that people can understand. So it's a fun but tough profession.
Yeah, it's funny how that led to you getting hired. Um, I take full credit for that, obviously.
Of course, you
Yeah. I mean, I was setting everything up on a tee for you that day. Um,
good ones do. The good ones do.
and then you get hired by Fox, and we just formed this friendship, and you'd come to Charlotte. I'd be like, "Dude, you wanna stay over a day? We'll go play golf," and pick you up from the game. We go play golf. We played in some tournaments together, and I'd be down in Tampa, and you take me out. I'll never forget going to play golf with you, and I was playing horribly. It was you and a buddy of yours, and I was playing terribly on the front nine, and you're like, "Hey, Kutch, you working today?" I said, "No." You go, "All right, transfusion."
Yes. Yeah.
At the turn, and I made a birdie. You're like, "Another one."
Only one way to turn that around. And it's not by hoping or like getting swing thought. It's like to let it go. And
Man, I need to do that more often.
there's one surefire way to let it all go. Oh,
You do realize that's like my go-to drink now. Like at my wedding,
yeah.
my drink was a transfusion. So thank you.
No, that's the way to do it. It's the way to do
Uh, Couple things for you. One, you mentioned before that you signed back with the Bucs,
it. Mhm.
and it was one of my former colleagues who kind of got you back. I think I have an idea who it was. Um, but you said it was an interesting story, so I can't like leave the viewers just like
Uh,
hanging. I got to know the story about how you went back to the Bucks, how you signed with them.
right. Well, I was a free agent. I was unrestricted free agent, so I could go anywhere, right? And I remember Rich McKay, yeah, who I love,
Who's now with the Falcons.
now the Falcons, president of the Falcons. Is I hadn't made it yet. Like I said, I hadn't. I'd done some good things. I'd done some cool things. Like I don't think anybody at that point thought that I was indispensable, much like I was towards the end of my career. Right? I just like we're not getting rid of this guy. Like even when he's 33 years old, like 34 years old, 35 years old, he's like we're not getting rid of him. At that point, I hadn't proved anything, really proved anything, and certainly nobody knew how good I was. Like no other team really knew. I mean, there was teams probably keeping track of it, but I took one free agent visit, and it was to. Well, let me back up. Rich McKay said they had a contract that like a thought about how much they were going to pay me. They said we want you to go test the market, and I took one free agent visit. I went to Cincinnati, and I got there, and I was like, "No, this is not where I want to be. I don't think I fit in here." And they were great. Like I enjoyed the heck out of the trip. And so um, I had just gotten married. Right, I got married in February of 2001, February 24th, 2001. Free agency started 6 days later, so I didn't go on a honeymoon
Oh my gosh. Okay.
because I was like, I don't want to be gone when free agency starts beginning of March, and me have to worry about going on visits if because I knew the Bucks were going to make me go test the market, which was kind of fucked up, but I did it, right? I did it. They made it up to me later in my career, but I did it, and so I went to Cincy, and my agent was like, we got to find some, we're gonna find some other places, and try to get this market heated up, so you can so we can sign the contract that you want to sign. Well, there's two other free agent corners that year. Um, Jason Sehorn, who signed back with the Giants for like a big deal, at the time, and then Ray Buchanan, who was a free agent for the Atlanta Falcons, signed back for the Atlanta Falcons for like basically over the life of the contract, $2 million less than what Jason had signed for. So I'm like, wow, that's the number, right? I got to be somewhere in that ballpark, right? No, like zero interest, right? No, I'm not getting any interest. Everybody thinks that I'm going to sign back with Tampa, right? That I'm not going to go anywhere. That I don't have a market that's anywhere close to that. At least this is the way I remember the story. So I'm good friends with your buddy Jay Glazer, and he's, at that point he had, started to make it as a, a glaze guy, right? And I knew him from his relationship with Tiki in New York, straight hand, good buddies, right? We're all good buddies. And so he makes this call to his buddy out in Seattle. And I don't know if John Schneider will confirm or deny this, but he basically put it out there that Seattle was going to bring me in, and if I flew out there, it, we weren't going to come home without a contract. And completely false. There's zero veracity to this story. There's nothing true about it at all. Like, not, they were not bringing me out there. They had no interest in signing me, and we kind of just used it. And I finally signed a deal. Like, finally, just gave in and signed a deal with the Tampa Bay Bucs for like half of what those guys made. And it's a long deal, like 6-year deal, and I just had to eat it up. And then, as my luck would have it, after signing that contract is the year that I led the league in interceptions. And I'm on a long-term contract that I just signed and severely underpaid, severely underpaid. And it was basically like that for the next 4 years. And then, to Buck's credit, um, when I was 30, going on my third in my 31 year football year, they signed me to a long term extension that paid me a lot more money, and
Okay,
it was like it all came
that's cool.
back. And then I played basically as long as I wanted to play there. Um, like I joke with people all the time and tell Bucks were great to me because collectively, we both had a lot invested emotionally in each other. And, when you have a lot invested in emotional bank account with somebody or something or organization or person, they end up usually doing right by you. And then the Bucks organization did right by me, and it was pretty great by them. We still have a great relationship with the owners and everybody here. So
And it's rare in football, especially to play 16 years. That's really rare,
yeah, possible.
and to play it all with one organization.
Yeah, it's impossible. I mean, you got to be selfless, to be honest with you. I think about like Levante David, who's still here. He played his first year was my last year in the NFL, and he's still here. I think this was year 13 for him. And you have to be selfless, right? You have to give up something, to kind of get what you want. Because I remember Mike Tomlin used to always say this. I know we've talked about him a lot, but and one of the things he always say was, "I'm going to tolerate you till I can replace you." Right? I mean, it's kind of tongue in cheek and funny when you think about it, like especially the guy like Hall of Famer now, but like that's the reality of the NFL. Like you're always replaceable, man. And there's only so much that you can do to make yourself tolerable, right? And price becomes that sometimes. Diminishing talent becomes that more often than not. Um, you know, New coaches, different direction, could be a trigger for that as well. So I never took for granted what I had ever, and I knew I never wanted to leave, which is why I ended up being here.
I have a friend in coaching and he had a chance to leave where he's at, and everyone thought he was going, and he was torn because it was a lot of money on the table. And someone said to him, "Don't fuck with happiness." And that
Yeah.
was what resonated with him, and he's like, "I'm staying."
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in
Because
that.
you never know, like, money's not gonna make you the happiest.
No, heck no. No. I mean, it makes your life easier sometimes, but like, it's a different stress. Like I remember thinking, to this point, I remember thinking, if I would ever change, because there's one point my agent, Ethan Locke, it's like, hey, I know we're not thinking about this, but have you ever considered playing somewhere else? Like, what would it be like to go and, play for, the Vikings or play for, some other part of the country, just to change, like change for change sake. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to be for that one reason. Like you'd have to go and try to find a way to fit in again and prove yourself all over again to not only a team, but like a community, right? Like I have like so much invested emotionally in this community. Forget football, just like the community that I live in, and I love it here. And there's a reason why, like, I would never move from here. I think a lot of players that play a long time in a certain spot feel that, right? They feel that connection, and like, how do you recreate that connection if you don't have to?
Yeah.
And it's different if you get fired or like you just have to move on and you still want to keep going. That's different. But like, if you have a choice, yeah, that's always unique. Um, and again, like if you can go make more money, maybe, you know, but like if it's similar money or not that much more money, like no way. I wasn't ever gonna leave because
And for you, I mean, now you're so involved with the Valspar Championship, the golf
yeah,
tournament that comes through Tampa. I just got to imagine. I mean, you can walk into a restaurant, into the grocery store, into anywhere, and people are just so happy to see you
yeah,
because you've meant so much to them over that 16-year career, and that you've stayed there, and that you've had your kids there, and everything.
right. And you know, I I've carved out a life here. Like I'm from Virginia, grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, born in Blacksburg, grew up in Roanoke, went to Charlottesville. So 21 years of my life is Virginia. Family's from there, and it doesn't feel like home anymore. Like this feels like home. Um, I've been here 28 years, which is obviously, and I've been lucky that I've only had to live in, roughly two places.
Mhm.
Charlottesville's an hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours from Roanoke, but so roughly only two places. And this one feels like a place that I would never not call home, right? Like
Even though
Roanoke,
you don't want to answer your door, but that's
right?
whatever.
Roanoke, right? Exactly. Like, there's nobody here, and I have and the dogs are barking. I like gotta go see what it is. I will. But yeah, even though Roanoke is where I'm from, like people say, where you're from now, I almost always say Tampa. Like, I'm not even in Tampa. I'm just north of Tampa, but I'm from Tampa. Oh, I was born in Roanoke, but I'm from Tampa. And it's important to, you know, to have this be part of the fabric of my life. And so everything that I do now, you mentioned Valspar, which is really I'm general chairman of Copperhead Charities, which is the host organization for the Valspar Championship. That's significant. We have a lot of money to charity every year. We put on a great event, obviously, but like the attraction for me is that I get to lead a group that's a big group, 200 plus people, and a 22-person board that's giving money back to our charity, to our local charities every year, and that feels right, right? It feels like what someone of my stature should be doing here. And there's plenty of other examples of guys doing that here, but for me, it's part of what ties me, to the Tampa Bay area, and a reason why I just really don't want to leave.
I don't blame you. Again, we're talking with the NFL Hall of Famer. That's right, NFL Hall of Famer Ronde Barber here. Ronde, I do a segment here called "This Just In,"
Mhm.
and so it's some rapid fire questions. And you being a Hall of Famer, playing 16 years in the NFL, there are some questions that I've always kind of wanted to know. So I'm going to throw them at you
Rock and roll.
and just go for it. So toughest player, toughest receiver to defend against.
Okay, so the toughest receiver ever to play against was Randy Moss, right? That's not even a question. Bigger, way bigger. Like it could outreach me by a mile. But probably one of the toughest I ever played against was Steve Smith. And I
Oh.
played him twice a year for a lot of years. He was a pain in my ass, dude. Pain in the ass. And for people that don't know, there's like a concept that was created basically for him. We used to call it the bear pass. It's basically when a quarterback just stands up and throws the ball down the line of scrimmage because it's a run play, and they know that you know it's a run play, and they're like, we're just going to throw the ball out there to Steve Smith, even though we have a run play called, and you got one guy out there to tackle. Well, a lot of that time it was me that had to tackle that dude, and he is impossible to get on the ground. So Randy, definitely the most talented, the scariest fucker that ever had to line up against. But Steve was tough.
Why was Randy so scary to line up against?
Just his length in every facet. He had long speed. He possibly long arms. He was 6'4". I'm 5'9.5", and like his ability uh, to get on top of you. And even if he has a route like that's a in breaking route, out breaking route, we're supposed to stop. That offense allowed him just to throw his freaking hand up when he felt like he had the advantage. And Culpepper and then
Brady.
yeah, whoever. Well, his first one, Randall Cunningham, was his first
Yeah.
when I first played against him, and then it was Dante Culpepper, and they all had these massive arms, and he just like, for the love of God.
I'm glad to see that you haven't lost sleep over that. Okay, quarterback you are most proud of intercepting.
Brett Favre. Yeah, Brett Favre. And
Why?
there's some context to this. So I never intercepted him early in my career. Um, um, but I remember going to Green Bay, and it was cold, and we always used to say, you know, Brett's going to throw you. He's going to throw you one. He's going to give you a chance. Obviously, he was not scared to take chances throwing a football. And I remember it was I can't remember who the receiver was, but he was running a slant, and I jumped the slant. Like, oh, here we go. This is my Tony Dungy just says, catch the ones he throws to you. It's like, catch it, dude. This ball hit me so hard in my chest and was on the ground before I even got my. It was like it was on the ground before I even knew it. What happened? I was like, Jesus Christ, man. So in 2002, our Super Bowl year, we played them after Thanksgiving. And the week prior to that, I broke my thumb. I can't remember who we were playing against, but I was on the sidelines clicking, and I broke my thumb. I was like, damn. And I convinced the doctors to have surgery on Monday. I practiced on Wednesday, but I was going to have to play with a cast on. And that next game was against Green Bay, and I intercepted him with one hand.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I think I kind of caught it in here, and had a cast on his hand, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Winning the Super Bowl, you guys had 5, I believe, all pros on defense.
Yep.
Where would you rank your team's defense against, let's say, the '85 Bears and the Ravens that beat your brother's Giants in the Super Bowl?
All right. The best defense of all time was probably those Steelers defenses back in the '70s. Those dudes, they had a lot of Hall of Famers, probably a lot of All Pros on there. I mean, I think they drafted a whole class of All Pros one year. Um, that '85 Bears team was unique, but I would say both, um, because they ran a different scheme. The way they revolutionized some stuff on defense. That '85 Bears team, and they had two or three like middle linebacker, edge guy. Like they had McMichael got in Hall of Fame last year. Um, um, but I think the Ravens defense of 2000s and our defense that was really a longer that was
Right.
dominant over a longer period of time. We're probably technically the two best defenses just because of the dominance we had against the type of offenses that we had to play against. That that's just my opinion. Like
Okay.
you can say whatever you want, and I'm not saying that those Steelers and Bears teams weren't freaking awesome. But the Ravens was really good. I think we were a little bit better.
All
I
right,
think
that's fair.
I,
And
I think
who
so
is
because we did it for a longer period of time.
who is your favorite football player to watch growing up?
I had a couple. Obviously, Tiki and I were both Sweetness fans. You know, who wasn't a Walter Payton fan? But I was a Redskins fan. Now Commanders, obviously, but I grew up as a Redskins fan. My favorite player to watch was Darrell Green,
Oh gosh.
and then he was still playing when I got in the NFL. That was awesome, dude.
So
I remember meeting him for the first time, and it was just like you're talking to to me, he was a living legend, right? He's just a legend. So yeah, it was him.
so what do you say to him when you're playing
Ask,
against him when you like, "Hey,
yeah,
Mr. Green, like it's so great to meet you."
Mr. Green, I'm Ronde Barber. I don't know if you know me. I asked him one question. I said, "Give me some advice about how to play." Because I mean, he's probably playing. I think it was probably his 20th year or 19th year or something. Like, give me some advice about making it in the NFL. And he gave me a great answer. So simple. Like, hey, pro, don't get beat deep. I'm like, I can't run as fast as you, dude. Like, you never
Yeah. You're like, "You're 40 and you're still the fastest dude in the
get.
league."
Right, but there was some context in there too. It's like he basically was telling me, you know, understand what's going to be coming at you all the time, and don't be the guy that's always getting beat deep, right? You know, just understand football enough where you know where to go take chances. And ultimately, that's what I did in my career. I took a lot of chances,
Yeah.
made a lot of big plays because I understood the game and understood what was coming at me. And, you know, it's the reason why a lot of my big plays, my biggest plays in my career looked easy. Is because I studied it. I studied the game enough and, you know, allowed me to make educated guesses, make a lot of plays.
Well, dude, you make a lot of stuff look easy. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and just gotta reminisce. Really appreciate it. I'll leave you on this note. Tell us your career low in golf.
Score or like
Or
the worst I've ever played.
no, your best score.
My best score, I've shot. That's not even a word. Goodness. Um, I shot 70 at Innisbrook twice. I've never broken the
Nice.
six.
Okay,
Yeah,
it'll happen. I've got confidence in you. And your
I
favorite
know.
course you've ever played?
My favorite course is the one I play every single day. Old Memorial. It's awesome.
That's an awesome track.
It's a tough track, but it's the best hang in the country, dude.
Dude, those cookies in the men's locker room are unbelievable.
They go well with the post round cocktails.
Yes. Speaking of that, we gotta make that happen again sometime soon.
Yeah,
Hey,
you know where I'm at. You know where I'm at.
I know, I know. Rondé, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. And I know I've said it to you before, but I'm so happy for you and proud of you to make it into the Hall of Fame. You
Thanks.
deserve it. And as I've said on this podcast, just with you right now, I really, really hope that Tiki gets into and to see you, Tiki, and your mom together. That would be epic with the two of you wearing those gold jackets would be so cool.
Yeah, man. That'll be when it happens. It'll be a one heck of a party for us. So
Yeah,
thanks.
it really will be. Hey man, thank you so much. Congrats on everything. Best of luck with the Valspar too.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. This was awesome.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man.